Hello, today we are from Bsr654 Technology Company. We present about proposed restoration project of a double-story Georgian mansion or known as Suffolk House Pinning. Before that, let me introduce our team members. Next, let me explain about our company, which is Bsr654 Technology is a well-known as a building contractor for residential, commercial, industrial, and recreational properties. Over 25 years of experience, we have a proven track record of more than 110 projects that completed throughout Malaysia. At Bsr654 Technology, we are committed to providing high-quality products and maintaining the integrity of our workmanship. Our company has sought to expand our portfolio into more new projects. For our vision company is to be the preferred choice builder and to provide long-term returns to stakeholders, while our mission is to embrace industry best practice, set excellent standards, and meet the deadlines. Second one, our mission is to build a dynamic team through effective communication, empowerment, and increased cooperation between each others. Aim of this project is to make a new look of Suffolk House in a short time as our company can do. Besides that, our company will look forward to find the best quality and materials to do the restoration. After the restoration is done, the Suffolk House can be functioned as before this in a new look, even though the past condition is rarely possible. While there are three objectives of this project, which is to develop a new look of a double-story Georgian mansion or Suffolk House Pinning, to define how the risk identification can be proposed in this restoration project, and to determine emergency preparedness while this project is ongoing. Suffolk House is located in Air Hitam, Pinang. It was Malaysia's purest example of Anglo-Indian architecture. After being abandoned for a decade and facing a serious campaign, Pinang Heritage Trust efforts to restore it were visible in the year 2000. Suffolk House is a two-story structure located in open grounds along the banks of the Air Hitam River. Captain Francis Light was the founder of the Penang British settlement in 1790. Suffolk House is the region's oldest surviving great house and the purest example of Anglo-Indian architecture outside of India. Almost all materials were imported from India and Burma via East Indian Company trade routes, and construction techniques were similar to those found in Madras garden houses. The campaign to restore Suffolk House began in 1961, but due to a lack of funding as well as a lack of support and interest in conservation, the house was left in ruins.
Now we move to the risk assessment. My name is Ross and Rafael, and I will give the definition of risk assessment. Risk assessment is the systematic process of discovering, evaluating, and reducing any risk or harm that could harm people, assets, or operation. It involves assessing the possibility and potential implication of hazard and determining appropriate measures to manage or reduce them. The process usually starts with identifying hazard or potential cause of harm, which can range from physical hazard like fire or chemical exposure. As we can see in this table, here we state the first risk identification that we identify, which is while doing a preparation of material. Here we state three hazards that could occur while doing this preparation. Next, the second situation is while walking platforms such as scaffold. So here we state two hazards that could occur, which is the first, fall from height. So we suggest to set safety net or soft landing system to reduce the distance of fall. The second hazard is falling object or material. So we suggest to use debris net or catch platform. Next activity is while carrying a material. Here we have three hazards that could occur while in this situation. The first is slip, trips and fall. While carrying material can obstruct vision and increase the risk of slipping, tripping and falling of the worker. So we recommend to enforce the use of safety equipment on the site. The second hazard that could occur while in this situation is overexertion and fatigue. It is because the carrying large or bulky object without rest might cause tiredness. So, we suggest a scheduled regular break to give a worker time to rest and recover from physical exertion. The third hazard that could occur is exposure to cement dust. It will affect the lung disease and damage skin. So we recommend to set a schedule or rotation for worker to reduce the risk of exposure.
I will continue Roran's presentation. For the next risk is the risk in plastering wood. There is three hazards that we have identified. The first one is the slashing wet plaster that can cause skin irritation. The likelihood of this happening is 2 and the severity is 2. So we recommend to set schedule or rotation for workers to reduce the risk of exposure. The second hazard is noise exposure. This can lead to hearing damage over time. So the likelihood of this happening is 3 and the severity is also 3. So we recommend to set schedule or rotation to avoid prolonged exposure to the noise. Okay, the last hazard is dust pollution. The dust pollution can cause problem in respiratory system. So the likelihood of this happening is 2 and the severity is also 2. So we recommend the use of dust control equipment such as vacuum or washing down the dust with water after the dust generating work is done. The next work activity and risk that we have identified is clearing unused material. The hazard involved is exposed to sharp object. This can cause hand injury. So the likelihood of this happening is 3. The severity is 1. So we recommend to identify and separate potentially hazardous material from non-hazardous one during the clearing process. That's all for the risk assessment. Next, we will go to the risk treatment. For the risk treatment, all the risks except the one with the red color metric has to be mitigated, while the risk with the red color metric must be avoided. The first treatment option that we suggest is to study and follow the ways for boosting workers' safety at construction sites as much as possible, without affecting the construction plan in major ways. The benefit that we will gain from this is it will mitigate most of the risks related to the workers that has been identified. The disadvantages of this treatment is it will increase the duration of the project and it will also increase the cost. But the result of this treatment option is yes. The second treatment option is to incorporate latest technology and equipment for the project. The benefit from this is it will help reducing risk caused by the equipment and it will increase the level of safety at the construction site. The disadvantages of this is it will increase the cost significantly and it will take time for the workers to adapt to the new equipment. So the result of this treatment is maybe. The last topic for this chapter is the legal acts, statutes, and guidelines for risk management. Here are the guidelines or legal acts that we use. The first one is the Environmental Protection Act 1974. The reason we use this act is because the project does not only involve the building, but it also involves the surrounding area. The second one is the Occupational Safety and Health Act. This is because the safety and health of the construction worker is essential for any construction project. The third one is the Uniform Building Bylaws. This is also one of the act that is essential for any construction project. The fourth one is the National Heritage Act. The reason we use this act is due to the age of the building.
Emergency Action Plan is a written document that necessary to comply with the specific Operational Safety and Health Administration (OSHA). Creating an emergency action plan is an effective way to safeguard employees and companies in an emergency. The main function for an emergency action plan is to coordinate employer activities during emergencies in workplace. A facility will sustain fewer and less serious employee injuries and less structural damage during emergency if it has well-developed emergency plan and enough staff training for emergency plan actions. The emergency action plan aim is to offer guideline and strategies reaction in an emergency case. There are also several purposes in creating the emergency action plan, such as first, providing a plan of action that the preparedness and reaction to handle emergency scenarios. Second, identifying potential emergency situation, incidents that could cause illness or injury to humans and the environment. Third, indicate the needs for system evaluation, vision, and testing the emergency preparedness and response process that relevant to the emergency scenarios. Lastly, propose mitigation for least adverse environmental consequences or impact to humans and incidents prevention. There are several possible issues and problems that may possibly occur during the restoration project's ongoing works. For example, the historic preservations. Due to the historical significance, rules, and requirements, there will be challenges to maintain the historical features. Next, a lot of cost and budget used to restore an old building due to the repairing defect costs and also other hidden costs. Besides that, the building code compliance of the building did not follow the most recent rules and guidelines, especially regarding to the safety, accessibility, and also energy efficiency. There are also possible issues and problems in water damage, materials, and also craftsmanship. There are also numerous hazards and risks present during the restoration of an old building. For example, leaks on the ceiling and roof are the common issues occur in the part of restoration in the old building. Next, the hazard with the pests and termite. It needs to be treated before other restoration activities done. The third possible hazard is on unexpected damage and hidden problems. During the restoration process, unexpected damage and hidden problems may be discovered. Can be including hidden structural damage, leaks, termite infestations, and also electrical issues. Possible issues are on the excessive moistures and also the crack. Cracking may initially appear to be minor issues, but it can actually be an indication if a serious underlying condition that has to be fixed as soon as possible.
Next, for Standard Operating Procedure SOP for Emergency Action Plan. This SOP procedure is to provide clear guideline and instruction to all project stakeholders to comply with in the event of an emergency, specifically in relation to incident of structural failure during ongoing restoration project. This SOP applies to all individuals involved in restoration projects, including project managers, contractor, employees, and other relevant personnel as well. For roles and responsibilities. First point is emergency response team. Establish a design emergency response team responsible for coordinating and implementing emergency response plans, including incident commander, evacuation coordinator, security officers, and first aid providers. For the second point is communication relations. Establish a communication liaison responsible for communicating with emergency service. For the third point is project stakeholder. All individuals involved in this project should familiarize themselves with their roles and responsibilities during an emergency and follow the instruction provided by the emergency response team. For the point emergency response procedure is first, the activation of the emergency plans. Upon becoming aware of any structural failure occurring in the project site area, any individual shall immediately inform the emergency response team or designated incident commander to activate the emergency plan, including initiating the alarm. Second point is evacuation procedure. Upon activation of the emergency plan, the evacuation coordinator will initiate an evacuation procedure whereby all personnel must evacuate the affected area immediately according to the prescribed evacuation route. The team involved need to gather at design gathering place to ensure accountability and facilities for the instruction. Then for the last point is area safety and insurance assessment. The training personnel will conduct safety assessment in affected area to determine potential hazard and risk. The incident commander will coordinate with security officers to implement measures to secure the area, such as using barriers, warning tapes, or fence. Next, for emergency preparedness or response action plan for structural failure incident. The response action plan is to outline the steps and procedure to be followed in the event of a structural failure incident. The plan aims to ensure the safety and well-being of staff, minimize further damage or injury. Point for risk assessment and design. First point is identify potential hazard. Conducting a true risk assessment on the project to identify potential hazard and area exposed to structural failure, as well as consider factors such as structural age. Next point is emergency response team. Establish an emergency response team consisting of trained personnel. The third point is communication plan. Develop a clear communication plan to ensure effective communication among project stakeholders during an emergency. Next point is transfer plan. Provide a detailed evacuation plan that include evacuation routes, installation point, and procedure to safely evacuate all personnel from affected area. Then the point for emergency response procedure. First point is instant response. Establish a protocol for immediate response to incident of structural failure. This may include actions such as activating an alarm. Second point is safety assessment. Ensure that trained personnel carry out safety assessment in affected area after an accident. Next point is safe areas. Implement measures to secure affected areas and prevent unauthorized access. This involves the use of barriers, warning tapes, or fence to restrict entry and protect individuals. Next point is search and rescue. Establish search and rescue operation procedure if there are missing or trapped individuals. To ensure the relevant personnel are trained in search and rescue technique. Last point is first and medical aid. Provide first aid training to design personnel and ensure the availability of a complete first aid kit. And inform emergency service of any medical injury or emergency. For the summary, the emergency response plans aim to ensure the safety and well-being of staff and visitors during emergency situation to providing clear guidelines and procedure for response and recovery. This emergency action plan places great emphasis on the importance of risk assessment, clear communication training, and willingness to minimize the effect of anxiety and ensure the safety of all individuals in the organization.
In the conclusion, Suffolk House being a place that can attract tourists to go. A restoration of the Suffolk House is a valuable thing to do. Risk assessment process also important to make the project going in a smooth way. Emergency preparedness also must be prepared for every site to make sure any emergency incidents can be handled. The restoration project's impact extends beyond the physical restoration. Suffolk House can be a place that have an important cultural and historical site in Penang that can attract tourists in exploring the rich history and experiencing the colonial ambience.